Hi, this is Remembering the Past, the show where we talk about people who've died recently who've had a profound effect on our history, our society, or our culture. Tonight we're going to talk about Betty Joan Persky, who died recently at the age of 89. You probably don't know her as Betty Joan Persky. You may be more familiar with her as Lauren Bacall, one of the great stars of Hollywood and Broadway, and also part of one of the great Hollywood romances, her 11-year marriage to Humphrey Bogart. This is sort of a special cast because Lauren Bacall was my mother's favorite actress, and she's also the favorite actress of my producer Sid's daughter, Karen. And with good reason. Lauren Bacall was not only beautiful, she was talented, she was a great actress, she was literate, she was outspoken, and she was courageous. There's nobody else like her, and I might add she gets my vote for the sexiest Jewish actress. She was a nice Jewish girl born in Brooklyn. Her family moved to Manhattan, where she took lessons at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. She had to drop out because of financial reasons. She did some local modeling. She became an usher. She was a hostess at the Stage Door Canteen, and on her lunch hour she would stand outside Sardi's restaurant selling copies of the Actors' Cue, a casting tip sheet. She was hoping to catch the attention of Broadway producers. She didn't, but with the help of Diana Vreeland, she got a cover shot on Harper's Bazaar, and the wife of movie director Harold Hawks saw it, told her husband he should bring the girl out for a screen test. So Lauren and her mother went to Hollywood. She did a great screen test, and Harold Hawks put her in his 1944 movie To Have and Have Not, starring Humphrey Bogart. Her opening line, the first time she sees Bogart, is famous.
Anybody got a match?
But even more famous is one of the great pieces of dialogue in movie history. At the age of 19, this is what cemented Lauren Bacall as a star.
Sure you won't change your mind about this?
Uh-huh.
This belongs to me inside of my lips. I don't see any difference.
Oh, I do.
Okay. You know you don't have to act with me, Steve. You don't have to say anything, and you don't have to do anything. Not a thing. Oh, maybe just whistle. You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just put your lips together and blow.
And that wasn't just acting. They fell in love. Bogart was at the end of his third troubled marriage. His wife was an alcoholic, and they decided to get married. And here, Lauren Bacall talks about the decision to get married.
He didn't say, I don't want you to be an actor. He said, if you want a career, a real career, then I'll do everything I can for you, but I won't marry you. Because he'd been married to 3 actresses, and they had all followed their careers. Their careers came first. And I promised him that our marriage would come first, and that the career would be second, but that I would work, but that I would not go away on location so that we would be separated, that I would go with him. He wanted his wife to be with him. Can't blame him for that. I mean, in view, obviously, of the brevity of our marriage, it's a damn lucky choice I made. I mean, I don't regret it.
They were married for 11 years. They had 2 children, and it's one of the storybook romances in Hollywood. Here is Kelsey Grammer for Turner Classic Movies to talk a little bit about the relationship between Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall.
Lauren Bacall. I suppose Humphrey Bogart was struck even harder by her. I understand that it was pretty close to love at first sight when they met. I mean, you can see it right there on screen in To Have and Have Not. These were 2 professionals falling deeply and irrevocably in love with each other right in front of our eyes. Any kind of believable chemistry on camera is difficult to achieve, but to recreate what they had is nearly impossible. It really is like catching lightning in a bottle. And Bacall, with her sassy and brash attitude, was the perfect conduit
Oh, I like that.
of an electric sensuality between them.
Why don't you shave and we'll try it again.
One thing that's been a constant is her bedrock reputation as a pretty tough gal. One who knows what she wants and just how to get it. She has maintained a real command of herself and the roles she's playing. Perhaps it's her brassy New York City attitude. Or maybe it's that gutsy female tenor voice of hers that speaks with an admirable independence and confidence in whatever role or situation she's in. That assurance was never more obvious than when she made the comedy Designing Woman, co-starring her good friend Gregory Peck in 1957. While Bogey was at home, suffering from the cancer that would soon claim his life, Bacall gave a sparkling comedic performance, looking radiant in the wardrobe designed by Helen Rose. She stayed focused and on the mark, despite what was happening at home. That's the sign of a true professional. And a fearless one, too. Most movie stars are just exaggerated personalities, but I think she transcended that limitation. The film world is a funny world, very visual, full of beautiful faces. That's one of the things that keeps us watching, I guess. The camera certainly loved Bacall, but she went beyond that idolatry. It was more than just being part of a culted personality for her. It was about doing something meaningful, with purpose and authenticity. She wanted something more, something compelling and real. Tangible stuff, tough and tender, that you can feel and hold. She wanted it, and she got it. Bogey once said of his baby, "She's a real Joe. You'll fall in love with her like everybody else."
Well, Bogart was right about that. Bugs Bunny loved her too. Here's a famous Warner Brothers cartoon from the late 40s. Bogart demands a rabbit for dinner from Chef Elmer Fudd, and Bugs is naturally reluctant until he finds out who it's for. It's for Baby, which was Bogart's pet name for Lauren Bacall.
One coconut custard pie with whipped cream. One coconut custard pie with whipped cream coming up. Say, you know what I think? I think that's the wabbit. Well, he who laughs last. Pick up pie. Rogerini.
Why did you hit me in the face with a coconut custard pie with whipped cream?
Please, Mr. Bogart.
Now listen, Chubby. You've got just 5 more minutes to get me my rabbit. Get me? Well, time's up, Shorty. Where's my rabbit?
Please, Mr. Bogart. I couldn't get a wabbit. I tried and I tried.
Oh, yeah? Well, I guess there's just one thing left for me to do.
Don't. Please, don't.
Baby, we'll just have to have a ham sandwich instead.
Baby?
Remember, Garcon, the customer is always right. If it's rabbit baby wants, rabbit baby gets.
Yahoo!
That's the kind of respect Lauren Bacall got. She did a couple more movies with Bogart. She did The Big Sleep, film based on Raymond Chandler. Great performances by Bogart and Bacall, but an incomprehensible plot.
Got a touch of class, but I don't know how far you can go.
A lot depends on who's in the saddle. Go ahead, Marla. I like the way you work. In case you don't know it, you're doing all right.
And they did Key Largo together. That's a really good movie, and I think she basically upstages Bogart, Edward G. Robinson, and Lionel Barrymore.
Storm's passing.
Torn shutter or two, some trash on the beach. A few hours of a little to remind you of what happened tonight.
Will we ever see you again, Frank? Will we?
I hope so.
Why don't you stay right on here with us, Frank? You're most welcome. Go on, tell him, Nora. If he decides to stay here with us, we'd be most happy. Go on, tell Frank.
Have you any folks?
No.
I'd be proud to have you regard us as your family.
Maybe that isn't what Frank wants.
Bogart expanded Lauren Bacall's horizons, and Lauren Bacall expanded Bogart's horizons, especially politically. She was a lifelong Democrat, and she got him more involved. She loved Franklin Roosevelt. She really loved Adlai Stevenson. She was with Stevenson in Libertyville, Illinois, the night he made his "I'm too old to cry and it hurts too much to laugh" comment. And she did a famous pose on the piano with Harry Truman. Here's a story their son Stephen tells. Stephen, by the way, was named after Bogart's character in To Have and Have Not, about Harry Truman.
In the late 1940s, Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall were Hollywood royalty. When, at almost 50, Bogart was about to become a father for the first time, it was big news.
Harry Truman and my father made a bet on whether I'd be a boy or a girl. My father bet I'd be a girl. Harry Truman bet I'd be a boy. Obviously, Harry Truman won. So my father sent him a check for $20. Harry Truman sent back the check, co-signed on the back, with a letter from the White House saying how much he respects a man who remembers his debts and pays them. Pretty amazing.
She got her husband to join a group which included Danny Kaye, John Garfield, Gene Kelly, John Huston, Ira Gershwin, and Jane Wyatt as the committee for the First Amendment to stand up against a lot of the abuses Congress was doing during the McCarthy period. And while all this was going on, they were hosting parties in their home in Holmby Hills. It was actually the original Rat Pack, people like David Niven, Errol Flynn, Judy Garland. Another of Lauren Bacall's legacies is she's the person who coined the term Rat Pack and eventually morphed into the group you know today, including Frank, Sammy, and Dean. She did other great movies. She was opposite John Wayne in The Shootist, and one of my favorite performances of hers was a wonderful turn in How to Marry a Millionaire, where she holds her own with Betty Grable and Marilyn Monroe.
The way most people go about it, they use more brains picking a horse in the third at Belmont than they do picking a husband.
Do they really?
It's your head you've got to use, not your heart.
Oh, I see. Tell her your idea about this apartment.
Well, to put it simply, the idea is this. If you had your choice of everybody in the world, which would you rather marry? A rich guy or a poor one?
I think I'd rather marry a rich one.
All right, then, where would you be more likely to meet a rich one?
A walk up on Amsterdam Avenue or in a joint like this?
I should say in a joint like this.
And that's it. We're all working steady, so we throw everything we make into the kitty and get a little organization into this marriage cake. Class address, class background, class characters. To be specific about it, nothing under 6 figures a year.
I've never heard anything so intelligent in my life.
Well, if you want to catch a mouse, you set a mouse trap. So, all right, we set a bear trap. Now, all we've got to do is one of us has got to knock off a bear.
You mean marry him?
Well, if you don't marry him, you haven't caught him. He's caught you.
After that, her greatest successes were on Broadway. In the 60s, she was in Cactus Flower, but her most memorable role, and I saw it, was in the early 70s in Applause, where she played the Betty Davis role. It's the theater adaptation of All About Eve. If you go back to the Bonnie Franklin podcast, you'll hear her sing the title theme. Lauren Bacall was the lead, and she gave a historic performance. Here she talks about it with Charlie Rose.
Where do you put Applause in the things that you have done in your career? At the top?
Oh, very top. Well, I think that obviously to have and have not for so many other reasons.
Because of Bogey.
Well, because it gave me a life, it gave me success, fame, it made me feel incredible. But I really didn't know what I was doing. I was 19 years old. I really was kind of moved around by hawks. But Applause was something that I felt I could do. And I did it. When the curtain went up, it was all me.
Yeah.
It was something I'd always wanted to do.
Were there people who didn't think you could do it?
Well, I don't know. There were people that were surprised because this was a musical.
Right.
When a Cactus Flower before that was a big hit, and that was a very broad comedy, and that I was very happy about.
And comfortable.
Oh, yes. I love the stage. But Applause was a childhood dream, to be in a musical. I loved that show. Everyone was wonderful. The director was terrific.
What was it like at the end for the first curtain call?
It was a tremendous high. It was extraordinary. Everyone had taken their curtain calls, and Ron Field, who directed them, directed the show. Everyone was on stage, and they had formed a V. And at the top of the V, I was standing with my back to the audience. And the orchestra was playing, of course. And at this certain point in the music, I swirled around, arms out. They didn't see me at the beginning. They see everybody else. And then there I was suddenly, back and swirled around. And the sound that came out of that audience was so extraordinary. I just thought that I had everything. I don't know how to describe it, but I was like lifted. I was airborne. It was that incredible thing of love coming over the footlights and of appreciation and enjoyment and, the pleasure of it all and the excitement of it all. The audience had a fabulous time, and I just, as Johnny Negulesco, who was a wonderful director and a great friend of mine, came backstage after he saw it. We went out to supper, and he said, "You don't need a man. No man's ever going to give you what this show gives you." And I thought, gee, that's pathetic.
She only won an honorary Academy Award, but she should have won when she was nominated in 1996 for The Mirror Has Two Faces, opposite Babs Streisand.
That feeling that you have for Gregory, I don't think I ever felt that. Not even for your father. It's not an easy thing for me to say, especially to you. It's an awful thing to look back in your life and realize that you've settled. The problem was that I always felt I had more time. I was, inside I feel young, like a kid, that it's just a beginning. I have everything ahead of me, but I don't. I guess I am jealous.
And besides all this, she wrote a great autobiography. It won the National Book Award in 1980. It was called By Myself. It's one of the best showbiz autobiographies. I'm going to close on that note. I want to thank my producer, Sid Tepps. We'll close with her number from To Have and Have Not. It's written by Hoagie Carmichael, who just happens to be Cricket, her accompanist here. This is How Little We Know, sung by Lauren Bacall. And this is for you, Karen, and this is for you, Mom.
There's a lot of people around here saving. We won't shove off till midnight. Go ahead, go to work. You all set, Snap?
Sure. But don't make it sad, Cricket. I don't feel that way.
You don't look that way either. Top note, boys.
Maybe it happens this way. Maybe we really belong together, but after all, how little we know. Maybe it's just for a day. Love is as changeable as the weather, and after all, how little we know.